What's up, y'all? Welcome to a new virtual episode of the Entertainment Club. I am James. Some people know me as J Rock. Really good to be with you guys this Saturday. Um, Actually, really excited. I'm starting to do two guests virtually on Saturdays. So I got two really dope artists who are going to be popping in with me today. One's coming on probably in within the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then my next guest is going to be coming on about 11 o'clock. So as you guys know, we go virtually here in the virtual studio from 10 until usually about 11:45 ish. Of course, music is spinning 24/7 on the station. We're also injecting some live content in there. Everything is kind of is piece by piece, piece by piece. But before I even get into so much of the particulars of what I have going on with UG Digital Media and Publishings, and of course UG Digital Radio and UGD Podcast, I got a quick guest here with me, kind of unscheduled, unplanned, but always beautiful. Listen. I called her probably a half an hour ago, and I said, "Listen, you want to come on the show this morning?" She said, "Oh, let me get myself together." So here she is. Many of you guys know her already because I've had her on several different projects and whatnot. But this is Lady Poet. She is the brains, the mastermind, the everything behind Open Letters to a Survivor, which runs on UG Digital Podcasting and Radio. Very essential program. And I know I told you this a long time ago, Lady Poet, that this was very essential. It was super important just to the culture and to everything that's going on. So I wanted to bring you on today. Well, first of all, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
Okay, so yes, of course. Hi, I'm Lady Poet Speaks. So born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and I am the founder and creator of Open Letters to a Survivor podcast, and also Purpose Gives LLC, where I do ghostwriting and event planning for people. So those are my two ventures, and so yes, that's what I do on a daily basis in my free time.
And you like a 20-time author.
Yeah, four-time author, two on the way. So two books on the way.
You working on your 21st book now, right? Every time I talk to you, you're like, yeah, I finished my new book, my next book today. And
Right.
so
Your wheels always spinning. You got to write it out. So
that's the thing with entrepreneurship. And I feel like I want to do like, you know how they have TED Talks and they just have all
yeah.
these. I feel like I want to do something like that and just have a panel of entrepreneurs and people who are running their businesses and be able to kind of go through the ups and the downs and all the stuff that you encounter, like everything. Because like myself aside, and other people that I know, you are pushing wholeheartedly at following your dreams and following your passion, and then you still got like a 9 to 5 on the side. I'm gonna say on the side because we don't want to count nothing else as the primary, but
Right.
you got a 9 to 5 too, or whatever hours it is, three to 12, or something.
Right.
Um,
I
okay.
always say, Edward, I think his name is Ed Thomas. He's a motivational speaker. We used to listen to him when I was in college, and he always say, you know, you yo basically hustlers don't sleep, they take naps. So I feel like all of my gifts, I gotta work them, take a nap, get up and do it again. So
Yeah.
that's the motto I live by.
Okay. So, kind of talk about because of course, we mentioned Open Letters to a Survivor in the podcast, right? So, give everybody kind of a glimpse into Open Letters to a Survivor, what it is, and obviously the concept behind it, and the importance and all that.
So Open Letters to a Survivor is a podcast specifically for mental health in our communities and communities of color. I mean, we do help everybody, but communities of color are our focus. We do topics. We start with the letter, our Dear Survivor letter. And our Dear Survivor letter is basically the advice that we would give ourselves or to someone else. And then we bring specialists or people who have their own stories to let others know that they're not alone.
Right.
I actually created the concept because me personally, dealing with like situations I had, like suffering from anxiety myself, it was nowhere to turn, nowhere where you could feel comfortable. And I just want to stop making it like something that people should be ashamed of. If you can get medication for high blood pressure, if you can openly talk about different health conditions, then you should be able to openly talk about mental health.
Absolutely. Um, you're on like episode 37, 38. Where you at?
So we will be on episode number 38 this coming Sunday.
Yeah,
Um,
look at me. First of all, look at me keeping up on the numbers because you know
yeah.
you when you was on like episode 6, I was like episode 4, episode 2, and so look at me keeping up.
Yes, it will be episode number 38 this week. Our theme of this month is Let's Go to Therapy,
Yeah.
talking with therapists of color, bringing them on. So that is our theme for this month.
Okay.
And so that is what we are going for. So on the 29th of December, we'll be close to maybe our 50th episode, not quite there yet. But we will be bringing on people to just, congratulate us in the new year and everything. So.
Yeah, I think that's great. So you mentioned themes, and the theme of the month for November is let's go to therapy. So kind of talk to me about the themes that you come up with, and you know what, how do you pick the themes that you have for each month?
So the themes are chosen by, sometimes we'll choose them like if there's a day, like a month, like breast cancer month. Of course, we did not do it for October.
Mhm.
However, like next year, that will be one of our things that we will do, spotlighting like survivors of breast cancer next year. But we come up with the themes based on things that maybe we've seen or things that are going on in our community. So October was survivor stories. Sometimes you can listen to other people's stories on what they survived. And when they talk about what they survived, it kind of give you the motivation to keep going and talk about what you survived.
Absolutely.
So that was our theme in October. And September we did a grief. Grief can be many forms. It doesn't just have to be a loss of a person. It can be a job, it can be financial, it can be a marriage, it can be anything. So we just go by those themes by either what we're experiencing as a team or what we've got, um or just what's going on in society, and we create themes off of that. So our December theme will be a round table for the holiday. So we're going to be doing some unboxing, some new businesses, highlighting maybe nonprofits that give back. So we have a lot of things coming up, so you don't want to miss it.
You say unboxing, so what y'all gonna be sitting around the tree or like what's happening?
So I'm thinking about, I'm actually putting a plan in place, even though we are virtual, to do like maybe Christmas backgrounds and things like that. We
Yeah.
do have a guest coming on that is sending us gifts from their product line that all of us will be unboxing that day.
Okay, okay. That's the kid in me. Yeah, I'm like a tree. It's gonna be a tree there.
Yes. Yes.
That's the
Yes, I
tree
will
in
put
me.
up a tree. Yep.
Like, how are you? Because we talk about mental health and we talk about all the stuff that goes that surrounds it. And with the holidays approaching, a lot of times people who deal with depression and mental health issues, like they kind of hit that period around this time of year where they start feeling kind of mellow.
Right.
There might be things going on. So how are you as the holidays approach and like all this stuff is going on?
So for me, holidays have always brought like peace, but they've also brought sadness due to things that I've experienced and the estrangement of family.
Yeah,
But what I did this year was I created a Friendsgiving that will be actually the day after Thanksgiving, so those people can still spend time with their family but still come to that. So creating new traditions is what's keeping the peace for me. And my theme is onesies. So we're actually giving out a prize for the best onesie and things like that. So to
okay.
just make to just make new traditions to still bring that peace and that joy without being sad on the holidays, and maybe other people who have had those situations that can and problems can come to the Friendsgiving so they can get that joy and peace and be around, people that may not have be biological family, but we're still family.
Okay. Okay. Lastly, what's the one thing that you want people to know about the platform, and then kind of shout where people can catch it, where they can find you, how they can keep up with what you have going on?
So first, I want to shout out UG Digital Media, which is your company, as you know. So, like I tell everybody, I talked to James about this idea 2 years ago. And it was like something that I thought about doing, but I didn't do because I was nervous. And I was like, it's 50 other people who do podcasts, but a lot of other people don't do mental health podcasts. And something that we talked about was valuable. When you go to the store, there's 50, 60 other types of bread, but each bread is useful and valuable in its own way. And so knowing that, it lets me know that, I was valuable. So now we're almost 50, 40 episodes in. So thank you for that, number one, and believing in
Did
the
I,
dream.
did I say that?
Yeah, so I remember that conversation. We talked about that.
Sometimes, listen, sometimes you just talk so much, and I'm talking about myself. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just talk so much that you like, damn, did I say that? That actually sounds good. Did I say that?
Yep. So I remember that conversation, and that motivated me to do it. So, and then Open Letters to a Survivor, the one thing I want everybody to know is that our motto was let's heal together. So we're family. Let's do this together. We have resources. We're easy to talk to. We have someone that checks our emails 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whatever you need, you can email us at openletterstoasurvivor@gmail.com. And you could catch us on Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be happy to add you to our family, and we'll be happy to assist you with anything you need.
Listen, I've told you a number of times how much I appreciate you for being a part of the network, for believing in the vision, and for just wanting to do something with it. And what I do know, that I said when we, had the conversations is that, the type of platform that you offer, to viewers is highly essential. Like, we all are dealing with stuff. You have dealt with depression. I have dealt with depression, and a lot of us are functional with it. So it's like, or somewhat functional.
Right.
So, like, we're living life and going to jobs and doing all this other stuff, but we're kind of in the background dealing with a lot of other stuff that nobody really gets to see. They don't see all of the stuff, that's happening in your head, and the different thoughts that you're having or whatever. So there's a lot of people that I told you in the very beginning could really benefit from having this type of platform.
Right.
I think it's amazing. Like, you've done very good with it, even as far as bringing on a team. Because I mean, I won't say if you recall, and I know you do. You started off by yourself, and it
Right.
was just you. And I remember you saying, "I can't hold the whole show for an hour by myself. I mean, I could do it, but I'm like, I need to be able to bounce off of somebody or something." And then you brought in Caleb, and then you had somebody else, and that person didn't necessarily work out, and whatever. And
Right.
then you got Cassandra, and you got Tim, and
Right.
like you have an amazing cast, to put this project together, and that's essential too, because
Yes.
it's just like going to counseling. And I told you, I 2 weeks ago now I went back to counseling. I missed my appointment yesterday because I forgot it was going on. She was mad, but either way, I I started back to counseling, and you know yourself that if you don't have the right counseling, it's
Yeah.
all in the toilet. It's all in the toilet. Sometimes deeper than what it was before you even went, because you got the wrong person. So it's imperative that you have the right people. And y'all as a team are the right people to be doing this. That's why
Right.
I don't press about nothing. I don't stress about nothing. I saw your message this morning, and I'm like, I know you got it. Like, I'm not even tripping, because sometimes it's bigger than that.
Right.
Sometimes it's much bigger than that piece of it, and like, this is necessary, not even just for the viewers, but it's necessary for us, for all of the stuff that we do. Like,
Right.
we're gaining from this process too. So I appreciate you. I love you. I'm glad to bring you on. You know, some people will be like, well, it's entertainment plug, so it should just be music or whatever. Man, this is everything. Like this is the culture. This is the culture. I don't care. And that's the beauty of kind of having your own thing, or having your own network and your own spaces that you can do what you want to do. What Sheree say? Who gonna check me, boo? So it's cool. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm glad that you came on. I usually try to get somebody for the first 10 to 15 minutes just because, like, this is a non-traditional type of a radio field. Like, obviously, we have the station, we have music playing. Busta Rhymes was just playing too. So, like, I'm getting a lot of support, not just from the up-and-coming artists, but from the established artists who I have been able to do stuff with over the last 25 years. Like, they are willingly pushing their, allowing me to run their music on the station and that type of thing. And, like, that's mad love, like, to be able to do that. So we got a lot of artists. My next guest, I just uploaded his music, or some of his music, onto the station last night. And he sent me some music to do that. But then I ended up uploading some other stuff that I would tell him about with you. But it's cool though. Like, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you. I'm glad you came on. And we're gonna do this again. But I was just like, let's get her on here. She's the only person I could call and say, let's go on in 10 minutes. And she's gonna go get dolled up and have her face on and all that and be ready probably before I'm ready. So I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for popping in.
I love you too. And I just want to say to my team, Cassandra, K-Love, and Tim, and Lena, that does our behind the scenes work.
I keep forgetting about Lena. I'm sorry, Lena.
And so I love all of you guys and thank you for being a part of my team. And James, I am so proud of you and I will talk to you later on.
Yeah, we'll talk actually right after the show because I'm gonna tell you about the event for tomorrow, and then if you want to go, I can cut the scoop.
Okay.
All right, so I'll call you in a couple hours.
Bye-bye.
All right. Listen, y'all, I'm having a really, really good time. Again, this is a bit of a non-traditional feel, so you don't necessarily hear the music going in the background, but we got a lot of stuff going on. Actually, download the app. Well, it's a number of apps that you can download, but Apple Music, TuneIn, Spotify, like download these apps and you can pull us up. UG Digital Radio. Sierra's playing right now. Shout out to Sierra. Shout out to all the people who are supporting and allowing us to run their music here on the station. We actually, and I'm going to do a post on social media so that everybody will be able to see, but we actually just uploaded new music from Darnel Alexander. He is one of our guests today. So I'm actually going to go ahead and bring him in now. He has graciously been sitting down here waiting and watching, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. Amazing artist here, hey. Mr. Alexander.
Hey, man. What's up?
Listen, man, I start off all of my conversations and interviews and, what have you, just by saying how grateful I am to you.
Well, I'm grateful on your show. I'm grateful to be here in the station at this stage of my career, and great segment, by the way, earlier. Love that.
I appreciate it.
Love to be a part of it too. So
it says a lot, being in this and kind of doing it kind of your way and doing your own thing for people to really jump on board and really support. And that kind of goes across the board. So whether it's managers, whether it's artists, whether it's publicists, like I had a cancellation yesterday and called Ron. Like, listen, who you got, man?
Ron,
and you're the first name that came out with it. And actually, he had told me about you before, and I usually have so much stuff going on that I forgot. So he said, did you ever reach out to Darnel? And I'm like, I don't think I did. So, obviously he pulled that together. But I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate being able to kind of go back and dig a little bit and kind of see the past and second nature, which I actually have started uploading some of that stuff into.
Right. That's so cool.
I'm a music lover, so like kind of from birth, coming up into music, and obviously I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, so it's not a whole lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, right.
I do have family who are in the industry musically inclined, kind of stuff. So I've been able to kind of see like the ends of the industry and just learn about different types of music and all of that. So like, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the support. You willingly sending your music over. I got Crazy downloaded into the platform also.
Okay.
Which amazing track. I had some issues getting What If uploaded, but I'll figure that out today.
Let me know if you need something else.
Just to kind of break the ice a little bit, tell everybody who you are, how you got here, that sort of thing.
My name is Darnel Alexander, and I got here in a spaceship about 50,000 light years ago. No, really, it feels like it. You know, started back in the early 90s, R&B singer from a group called Second Nature. We were doing the a cappella R&B with, you know, Boyz II Men, groups of that time. For example, Shy, you know, all those groups were popping back then. And, you know, it was a cool experience. We were on the road for a couple of years. I got a chance to experience some stages with like Patti LaBelle and kind of, you know, went with Montel Jordan and a bunch of other acts, you know. So after the boy bands kind of died down in the 90s, I've been solo ever since, but I hadn't really done anything major until, I want to say, the late 2000s, like 2009. And that's when I started doing solo projects and released quite a few albums from then until now. As you know, for those who wonder if I have my own sound or not, you know. But you know, and then to get here today, that's all through social media. And now with the advent of social media, because, you know, it's a whole different world we're living in now. You know, now people aren't, you know, we don't go to the stores and sign records anymore. People are just like, where are you at? Are you visible?
Yeah.
And they see me singing in the garage, and that was it, man. They decided to put me up, and now I'm here, you know.
Yeah. Now I think I love, well, a couple things. I love the fact that you mentioned, you know, where things are today versus where they were 25, 30 years ago. And you obviously have the advent of social media, and, you know, how that plays a tremendous part in you ultimately getting your project, you know, in the hands of, you know, music listeners and that sort of thing. It's cool to hear you talk about it from that perspective, because there's so many people who have so much negative to say about social media and where that thing is. So kind of talk a little bit about how social media has helped you, even in the terms of kind of transitioning through music today versus, you know, the early 90s when you were out with, you know, all these other groups and you didn't have anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, see, now the reach is insane. So back in the day, you know, we were doing the tours, hitting the colleges up, going on the road, signing autographs in different cities that we'd be playing at. And that was really, really how we would extend our reach back in the 90s. You know, if you didn't get radio play, then you needed to be as visible as you could possibly be. And, you know, of course, like you were saying, people are like, oh, social media is this and that. And I think it's how you use the tool, right?
Absolutely.
I had the mindset of, I don't want to be dealing with all this. People, you know, be doing the most on social media. And then I said, wait a minute, this is a business tool. Let's reach out to the people. And, you know, there are people from all different walks of life. And you have to understand that on social media, people are expressing themselves in different ways. So it's not up to us to determine how, what, and why they do what they do. All we want to do is see if they like what we do. You know? So, now, you know, with all the different platforms, I can't even keep up with them, but I'm on, we really started out pretty hard on TikTok, migrated over to Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. But of course there's X and some other platforms out there that people use, but it's great because you get to hit people in different ways, right? TikTok, everybody's themselves or their craziest self. Instagram is more geared towards people who are really hustling business. Let's connect. Yeah. Facebook is very family oriented. Same with like YouTube, is people who are searching for something. And so when you think about the diversity of all these different platforms, and if you're a little bit, you know, tech savvy, you can reach a lot of people in different ways.
Yeah. I think it's you know, obviously there's so much different social media out there, and it took me, I would say it took me probably about 10 years to really get used to just using social media.
Right.
It took me a long time. Like even with like my Instagram account right now, I think I have like 11,000 or 58,000,
Yeah.
58 to 59,000 followers on my Instagram. But that has literally taken me 10 years to get it there. Where you have some people that launch an Instagram and in a month they have 2 million followers or whatever. And I'm just like,
yeah, I know.
I'm like, I keep being at 59 and then I'm at like 58.7 and I'm like, shit, I lost like, what am I doing or what am I not doing? And
yeah, you're like, where'd it go? Why you leave?
Yeah.
Why you leave?
I've been posting between 58 and 59,000 for like a year.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I put so much work into it now because I realize, you know, obviously the different, you know, a lot of it ties just into you, your personality, like how you move. And like,
Right.
I've been an introvert shit my whole life.
Yeah.
So like, I can't get with like TikTok and doing the videos and all, you know,
Yeah.
It's just not me. So
look,
everybody's like, you can make so much money doing TikTok. And I'm like, forget it. Money's not everything. I can't do it because it's just not me. So I think a lot of it ties into personality as well. Do you feel like that's allowed you to get closer with your fan base? And
yeah, I want to tell you this. I too proclaim to be a type of introvert, but I realize that if I'm going to make this thing what I think it's supposed to be, I've got to kind of put that in the closet, and put the key up.
I'm in that same place. I mean, obviously, podcasting and doing radio and all of that, like nothing in my mind.
But you know what?
I mean, I've known my whole life that this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm blessed that, but nothing in my mind 25 years ago would have said you're gonna be doing videos and you're gonna be on the air and you're gonna be nothing. And I worked at the TV station. I worked for Radio One for some years. I worked for NBC, you know, here in Cleveland and nothing about me at that period wanted to be up front. So it's funny where life will put you and you know, obviously how you grow and all of that stuff. And like you said, some of it you got to kind of lay it the rest if you want to, you know, reach those goals.
Yeah, I mean, and like you know, like I look at you, I would never think that you're an introvert. I think, you know, I'm like moving and shaking, you know, meeting people, hanging out, and but I'm very introverted. But I do what I need to do to make sure people are getting the message that I'm here to entertain you with this wonderful music stuff I've been doing for years, and now people are able to see, and the response is what kind of keeps me motivated to deliver more cool stuff, you know.
So Second Nature, you guys dropped her album 1995. What Comes Natural.
Yeah.
After dropping that album, well, first of all, kind of talk a little bit about kind of what it was like to obviously be in that stage. You're with Shy, you're with Boys to Men, you're with, you know, all these different bands and groups that are out there.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you to, you know, obviously be in the industry and do it?
It was really cool. I mean, you know, we got a chance to experience. It's almost like watching TV and then jumping into the TV. You know, you show up at different places. You don't know who's going to be there. Go to different conventions, and you're like, "Oh, that's so and so. That's so and so and so." You know, it was really fun to kind of be the fly on the wall in the room. But it's also nice to be a part of the movement of you know, boy bands and doo-wop. You know, really kind of you know, like Ode to the Temptations and you know, Levert and all those cool groups, right? So it was nice to be able to experience those performances. It's very surreal, right? Because you know, you're doing that and you go to the record stores, you got all physical copies of your music and you sign and whatnot. You got people in line for that. So there's some really cool experiences from that are different than today. You know, today it's like I'm going to show up at a venue to perform, and then those people will, you know, be there to you know, meet and greet, right? So it's more like a meet and greet situation where people got like your CD and stuff in hand, but you know, that merch will come later, I guess. But so but the time was cool, man. It's like we did a show with Patti LaBelle. I love her to death. She had the rotating stage. One of the homies from the group got on there, and they were going back and forth, you know, doing what they do, you know, because, you know, Patty, she turned the heat up, and just some really cool experiences to look back on. Roger and Zap, you know, we go to the show, and this guy's getting carried by the audience, and I'm just like, wow, it's really cool to see all the different ways that people express themselves through their music.
You taking me back, man. Like it's crazy because I grew up on a lot of, you know, Zap and Roger.
Yeah.
Zap and Roger and Shirley Murdoch
right.
And then you mentioned Levert, and you know, obviously them being from Cleveland and I'm from Cleveland, so like Sean and Gerald were like the coolest guys. Like, you know, obviously they were famous and all of that stuff, but
right.
when they were around, like, you never really got that sense of like these are famous people or whatever. Like,
right.
It was just like Gerald I interviewed maybe a year or two before he passed, and like I felt like Atlantic Records was trying to dupe me, because they said, okay, well, he's only available at 6 a.m. and I was like, okay, that's fine. I get up. You know, I get up and he calls, and like literally we're on the phone for like 2 hours, and probably 25 minutes we talked about the project, and then the other hour and a half was just random talk.
Wow.
And he was like one of the coolest guys. And then Eddie Levert, I interviewed him around when he did the Soul Train, the Cypher thing on the Soul Train Awards.
Okay.
And, just like really, really cool family, really cool people. And just Patty, like, I'm dying to get in her kitchen and interview her there. Like,
right.
That's really dope.
Yeah, she's real people. You know, we went to her dressing room, and I was like, man, this is just like family right here. This is crazy.
Yeah. It's, you know, I think it's cool when you can get that sense from, you know, people who you look up to, people who you listen to. It's cool when you can kind of get that familiar feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so where they make you comfortable.
Yeah.
So now, you know, obviously fast forward some years, kind of talk about what went on in those years between Second Nature and then you starting to release your solo material.
Yeah, man, a lot of ups and downs. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you what, I had to really be on my mental health game to get to where I am today. You know, so after Second Nature, I went back to the workforce like a normal human being.
Like, what is that like? To transition to working after?
It's like it's the equivalent of telling a 16-year-old kid to take out the garbage.
Yeah.
And from there, I joined the disco band. That was super fun. That was one of the funnest experiences of my life too, because I didn't realize that. I should have remembered, like in hindsight, that people love covers, because you know you're just on stage, you got your wig on, and you're dancing all crazy and playing all this music, and people are just like vibing to it, like it's no big deal. You know, when you're selling original material, people have to, like, you know, gravitate towards it. Whereas this is familiar stuff, familiar territory. If you sing it good, they're gonna rock with you. And then after that, I kind of relocated, went to Cali for a couple of years. And that was like a vacation, but it was a time that I wanted to reset, because when I got to Minnesota, I started really trying to build myself back up from different life experiences.
Yeah.
And I want to say it took from 2003 to 2009 to like really get it together and say, okay, I miss it. I miss recording. I miss performing and doing what my soul calls me to do. So that's when I started back up. And even then, you know, I had, you know, situations where I was just like kind of giving up, and it's like, man, am I getting any kind of response from, you know, because original music, you really got to have some special, if you don't have like really, really special music, you've got to have the people behind you that will showcase you and put you in the forefront for people to see you and understand and convey that, you know, this is a good artist. He can sing. He's great. So then we get to today, because even after the projects I released, I had a band and everything, but there wasn't really a showing of support. And we're talking about years, right? So
Yeah.
And then when I started doing the social media, all of a sudden everybody and their mom is like, this dude, this is the guy. I'm like, what are you guys talking about, man? I've been doing this for a minute. Even to tell me all I had to do was get out here and sing some Luther Vandross. Yeah. I was doing this stuff in talent shows back in high school, man. And,
it's amazing. And you kind of, you even with you bringing it back to, the experience behind social media, like it's amazing what you can do, obviously with that, type of a resource, in your hand. But also what I've learned over the years, it's really about having the right team, the right team behind you. Obviously having, that confidence and that motivation to kind of keep going. I can look at where your career, obviously where it started, where it's gone in between, and then where things are now. And I mean, in my mind, I'm like, you're this amazing artist who is making it, like literally making it, and on an independent level, like, it's not to be knocked, because like it takes a whole lot to get your music out here, and piggybacking on that social media piece again. It's really about how you utilize it, and just making sure that you're constantly networking, constantly reaching out to people, constantly sharing what it is that you have, and constantly posting. And it gets around. Like it absolutely gets around. And even like for me hearing it, when Ron pushed it to me, and then I'm like, okay, this is really dope. Like let's number one, let's bring this guy on the show. Then let's get the music on the platform, because now, we're building the fan base now at the radio station that's been running for a little bit over a month. And it's like people are hearing this music. And like the beauty of it is that when I put these playlists out, like this is stuff that I want to listen to, that I know that other people want to listen to. And it's not like listening to your traditional terrestrial radio where they're kind of sanctioned to play the same 20 songs for 2 hours. And they shuffle them around, and you hear the same 20 songs every 2 hours. Like I'm giving people obviously the new, but then some of the classic and all of that stuff in between too. And it's a beautiful thing just from networking. I'm pushing it to people now because of hearing it from Ron.
Well, I think you got a good point there, and I think with what I've learned with social media is besides the music, I'm really giving them who I am as a person, not on a super personal level, but on a personal level that, hey, I sing these cool songs or whatever, but I want you to see a part of who I am, what I'm about, I care about mental health. I try to carry myself as a classy individual. I want to represent for my daughter, for example. I want to, be the kind of figure, if I'm going to be in the social eye, that is something that people want to look up to, or inspire other people. My success is your success, not the gatekeeper mentality where I made it, I'm doing my thing. I don't know about you, but it's more like, can I find my energy on you so that you can feel good about what you want to do with your life, whatever it is. It's like to have another opportunity at this point in my life is insane, and I'm eternally grateful to the universe and everybody that's working with me and supporting me to do this. And it just pushes me harder to want to show people that anything is really possible, but also to realize who you truly are and to give your best self. It's okay. Like it's not, it's not, it's scary, but at the same time, the change and growth is what, is what really rounds you out as a person, an artist, or whoever you are and what you want to do. So
I appreciate, I appreciate knowing your journey and your story, but then also appreciate just the idea of being able to relate to it. Like I've been doing this media stuff since 2001. Yeah. So that's kind of when I got started. Well, that's when I started with radio. And then, 24 years, like I've been pushing and trying to do this stuff, and I stopped in between for like a handful of years. And I up until maybe 3 years ago, I've always had like a traditional job and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I worked in healthcare for about 22 years.
Yeah.
So just kind of knowing that journey of kind of being intermixed and, you know, intermingled in with all of the celebrity life and all of the stuff that's going on, and interviewing this person and this person and this person, to just kind of not doing it anymore, just working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to a place of being miserable and like,
Yeah.
I gotta do this. Like, I gotta figure it out. So like walking away from it for 3 years and then coming back, it's like starting all over.
Yeah.
And it's like all of what you have built, that all of what I built for the 10 years before that, it's kind of gone. I mean, you know, the managers have changed, the publicists have changed, hell, so a lot of the artists have changed. So it's like nobody knows me now. So it's like, you know, trying to start over again and build a persona again, and, you know, obviously doing it on an independent level, because now I'm in that space of I don't want to work for nobody.
Yeah.
So, you know, eventually I left my job, you know, just to be able to do this. And like that type of sacrifice to walk away from kind of the known and the guaranteed to, you know, try to push your own thing. Like that's where the depression that I talked about in like the show opening came from, and all of the stuff behind it. Like it's a lot, man.
It's a lot
to be able to sacrifice, but it's cool though. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's cool to be able to hear stories like yours, to be able to relate to that and know that, okay, I'm really on the right track. And like this does work if you keep at it.
Oh yeah.
I think you've done an amazing job. But before we still got a little bit of time, but I definitely want you to talk about Crazy, which I, you know, uploaded into the platform, and then I'll have What If in the platform this afternoon. But I want you to talk about those 2 singles.
Well, first of all, Crazy, I did an EP called It's About Love. And I want to say that was a period of time for me where I was exploring my individuality, and really, you know, ready to make a couple steps in building up my mental health, so to speak, right? Because it's the journey is a lot of hills and valleys, and when you're really trying to take the time to do you or build yourself up, you do sacrifice a lot, because it requires you to be in your own little bubble alone, so that you listen to yourself talk. I
get it so much, but
right. So you want to
when I say I've been there, like I'm honestly I'm still there. So when I say I get it, I get it.
That's a never-ending journey, right? So you're you know, and sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and say, I don't know what you've been trying to do all these years, but you know what we have to do. We got to do this, right? And so Crazy is like a song where I could feel that old school 90s R&B, and I was like, you know, I know music has changed, and I know people are, you know, vibing to like the Eric Bellingers and the what's his name, Vitos and all that of the world, but there's still a place for people who want to vibe out to you know, a beat that you just kind of just, you know what I mean?
But you know why a lot of people are vibing to like the Eric Bellingers and stuff? Because they're pulling from the 90s. Yeah, like if you listen to a lot of
samples, pulling all those samples from the 90s, I said
they're pulling all the samples. Chris Brown and Eric Bellinger and like all these artists are pulling from the 90s.
I just want them to remember that I'm from the 90s, and so I'm gonna do a song fully without the samples and loops of what the 90s actually is, right?
Well, that's kind of that actually is a question that I was gonna ask you. Like with so many people sampling from the 90s now, like 90s R&B, and then you have kind of that influx of artists from the 90s and the early 2000s who are making comebacks. So you got Ruffians. And you got Shy, and you got Jodeci, which Casey and JoJo are my cousins. So those are 2 that I was talking about.
That's the
but you have them making their comeback, and like a lot of the 90s is making its way back now into 2024. Like, do you see that kind of being a thing where people are making music the same way they did back then?
Yeah, there's a couple of people that I follow that are jumping into that, and even going back to my single What If. That's ode to the 90s, but with a new school flavor. And I think there is a big space to try to push that into the mainstream, it's kind of like what I feel like my responsibility is like, you know what, I know y'all got this thing going here, but the movement is to bring back the real singing, like Casey and JoJo, the sing out.
And I mean, you see people like Shanice out there now and Tracy Spencer out there. Like, I think it's dope, man. I think it's really dope.
So I'm super happy to bring that back to the forefront. And with social media, they have no choice. I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Bringing it to you. So songs like What If and Crazy are really a recreation of what, was happening in the 90s. And, who knows, somebody might want to sample that,
Absolutely. Now, you'd be surprised, man. And you never know, I've learned kind of through this whole journey of mine and the mental health piece of it. And like, you never know who is paying attention and like who you are inspiring. And that's, I've come across so many people. Like, I love being kind of in this journalism business and media piece and being able to talk to different celebrities, because I've been able to actually say to people like directly, like Faith Evans, and like how I've been able, like, I actually, for my magazine, I did a full issue with her.
I love her. She was one of my most favorite of all time female singers. I mean, I broke the record. I broke the CD.
I too.
Melton.
Yeah.
That voice,
like,
man. Oh.
Yeah, definitely mine too. Like, I think probably like my first kind of bout with like depression and sadness and all of that stuff, it was kind of like, it was around that time when she dropped her debut album. So doing this full issue, I was able to talk to her and really just kind of express like how that kind of got me through that period.
Did you tell her how good it made you feel to hear that?
Yeah, and kind of going back to just me saying, like, it's really cool when you can meet people and they actually be who you think that they are.
Right.
She was like, you hear of those encounters where people meet like their favorite celebrity and it's like, she was a bitch, or like he was just a real ass, and like,
not your hero.
She was like that person that I thought that she was, and like when you think of somebody that's down to earth, like, she just down to earth and trying to take care of her kids and trying to, and like I thought it was really, really dope. But you never know who's paying attention and all of that stuff. So it's a lot of people who you are helping with your music and your journey, and people.
To speak on that, I used to do bodybuilding, so I'm huge into motivation, and that's another thing that really helped me mentally to develop the strength and the tools to. Whether you're going through ups and downs, to just keep pushing forward because you got that goal. And I think having the goal allows you to overcome a lot of those obstacles. Is when you finally have done all the work and you pushed those boulders aside and you jumped over those high heels and you finally reach your destination. You feel like, wow, I really can do it, or do what I set my mind to, regardless of I don't feel like it today, regardless of if somebody said that they didn't like what I'm doing, or I was like, let somebody get in my ear. So I think it's huge to, for me, to help people to see that no matter what you're going through, you got this, you can do it. And I like to coach people a little bit and give people whatever type of inspiration they can to live your fullest life as a human being. It's hard, but you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so you were talking. So you were last talking about What If. That's what you're currently pushing right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, What If is really cool. So Jordan Johnson and his dad Bob Johnson, they wrote it. His dad used to be signed to Flight Time Records in the 80s and 90s, and all I've ever said my whole career of music is, can I just connect with some of these heavy hitters, because I know that if they get a hold of me, people will really get to see what my voice can do and what I'm supposed to sound like. Because, I can write on my own, I can, make my jams, but there are people out there that are like, let me, sculpt you into this beautiful masterpiece. And so God has a funny way of working, and working with these guys, we made What If, and it's beautiful. It's a full song. It's, it's a song that's got a bridge in it, and the changes in the music to make you have have those emotions that come out like back in the day, right?
They don't do bridges no more, man. Like, what you talking about, a bridge?
A bridge, you know, take it to the bridge, you know, like Teddy Riley, right? So, but yeah, so you know, I got a couple of new songs coming up for 2025. I think I'm going to do an EP for 2025 that's going to be pretty magical. And so God put these guys in my life. You know, I haven't had the opportunity to meet anybody that's really, you know, big time producers, but that's okay, because these guys have exactly what it is that I need to be able to show people what I really truly do as an artist. And I'm hoping that we can kind of create something new in the space of what's going on now, because I think people are ready to feel again. They're ready to dance. They're ready to, you know, because in the 80s and 90s we were in it. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was about the dancing. It was about the music makes you feel some type of way all the time. And I think we're missing that now. So I'm one of many people that are here to bring that into the forefront.
Listen, I think you are doing a tremendous job at you know, at it. It's really good just to get feel good music. Feel good music. And to see the face behind it and see that it's somebody that just wants to have a good time and put some good music out there, and something that, you know, people can take from and apply to their lives and that sort of thing. Looking forward to obviously everything that is to come in 2025. What If, and then, you know, obviously Crazy as well, and that EP. Apple Music, Spotify, where all can people get it? Or are those the only places where it's available?
Yeah, definitely all the streaming platforms. I have a link tree that has, you know, all the links there. But Spotify and iTunes are most people are using. But you know, all the videos are on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok. They only let you put a minute up, so I give people a lot of users there. But definitely be looking for that. I'm going to make sure I promote the stuff. I'll be sending you all the new material, so you'll be, you know, first up.
Send it to me, man. Send it to me. Like, I'm more than happy to get any and everything uploaded into this platform, because I want people, you know, that first and foremost, I love internet radio.
Yes.
You know, I've worked for Radio One and all of that, and I love internet radio.
Yeah.
But you know, with this station and with what I'm doing, like, I want people to be able to feel like they're getting a variety of music, and again, not just that 20 songs or those 25 songs that we got to play these every 2 hours. And like, I get the, you know, the job and the task that a lot of these program directors have, but I just want to do something different. And even with, you know, bringing this video piece, people would always say, you know, when they were being funny or whatever, like, oh yeah, you got a good face for radio, but it's like I'm actually bringing the face to radio now, and letting people actually see, you know, what's going on, and be able to kind of, you know, to get the real stories from the artist and maybe talk to the artist, and that's it. And so I'll be doing some stuff too where, you know, artists can come on and actually talk to the fans and everything.
Well,
I
you're doing
appreciate it. Huh?
I was gonna say you're doing a good thing, because I think we do need people that are willing to change and do something that's a little bit on the edge. I remember when I was listening to radio, and then, you know, you got that one station that's playing all this dope material that you don't hear anywhere else. And you're like, I need more of this. And then you start looking for the music that they're playing, because you're like, I haven't heard this anywhere. How do I get that? Into the song, I don't know what, you know, you're just freaking out because you're like, you're in the zone with the station. I think that's one of the cool things about radio.
Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, with starting this station, this shit ain't cheap, man. It's not cheap. And when I tell you, I'm driving Uber around the clock, and all kind of, my son is in his first year of college, and I'm paying the remaining balance of that, and it's just like, I spent probably a month prior to it launching trying to get all the software, because I'm like, okay, I need to be able to cut into the music, cut out of the music, add some stuff to it, and that's traditional radio. Like, when you go to the Radio One stations, like, this is what they're doing, and they're like, you know, this is whoever, and we're live, we're in the studio, and then they go and they cut into some music for 2 or 3 songs, and then they come back and they talk some more. I want people to have that music piece. So I got the apps, I got the music going everywhere, and they can have that if that's what they want. But then, you know, if they really want to see what's going on and be able to hear directly from the artist and that sort of thing, then they can tap into the video piece of it. So it's like you kind of give them both of them, give them both of it at the same time, and just run with it. And I just want to do something different, man. I'm like, if I was going to do the same thing, I could just go work for Radio 1. So, you know, I appreciate those like you who really support something different, because a lot of people aren't used to change. Like they don't like change. So it takes a minute to get people on board. And then the other piece, just with the media company as a whole, is I'm trying to build that safe space. Nobody really trusts the media. And I get it. Like, I'm not even saying that they're wrong for not trusting the media, because there's a lot of sloppy media out here. So, like, a lot of that is what drives me too, is to be able to do something different and actually give people that safe space that when they come on, they know I'm not going to twist the words and turn it into something else and try to make a whole nother story out of it. And like, I don't care about all that shit. Like, I'm just like, I probably should be here for the clicks, but I'm not really here for the clicks. Like, I'm trying to actually get something out of it. And even with the mental health piece of it, like, nobody's doing that. Like, and we all need it. We all got something going on, and people out here shooting and killing and doing all this other stuff. Like, they need it really, really bad. So who be it? You know, I should be the one to give it to. But nobody else is giving it to them. So I appreciate you, man. Website, social media. Can you shout that stuff for people?
Yeah, website darnelalexandermusic.com, and all of my socials, with the exception of Facebook, are under Darnel Alexander Music, and that's Darnel with 1 L. And Facebook is just Darnel Alexander. Watch out for those fakes. I don't ask you for money. I don't ask you for anything except for your support. So if you got some random person messaging you, it's not me. I got blue checks. Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. That's, you know, hey, you know, if you see somebody with 5 followers on there, it ain't me. I just wanted to put that out there.
It's good that you mentioned that too, because it's good that you mentioned that too, because, you know, Ralph Tresman from New Edition, you know, he took over the radio show Sunday through Thursday on Radio 1. And a few months ago, he was actually saying the same thing, and probably for about a month and a half, because people were requesting money and all kinds of stuff, and, you know, it looked like it was him that was doing it. And
they'll do it.
So that's the other piece of, like, social media too, is, you know, obviously it can be a good tool for you, but then you kind of got to police it a lot, you know, to make sure.
And, you know, I just remember where I'm at with this thing. I'm like, you know, I haven't even really scratched the surface of what I see myself doing. You know, I haven't been on TV. I haven't been on any award shows or anything like that. I'm like, you guys want to impersonate me and get money from people? Like, wow, okay, I guess I've made it then, I guess.
Yeah. yeah. That's the way to look at it, man. But so, I appreciate you again so much, man. Like I told you in the very beginning, like, anything whatsoever I can do for you, if you think it and you want, just shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, or you can go through Ron, or whichever way you are more comfortable. But anything you need, like, I got you. Like, all you
we're gonna chop it up. We're gonna chop it up.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Any final words before I let you go?
First of all, thank everybody for tuning in and supporting radio and supporting artists that are unknown and to be known. And also, everybody, you know, make sure you check in with your mental health. You know, start caring about yourself, because if you're not right, then you're not going to be right to everybody else around you. So that's what I'll say.
Absolutely. All right, man. You have enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And listen, we'll be in touch. Any music that you said that you had, shoot it over to me, and I will get it uploaded. And then I'm digging and I'm downloading off of different platforms and uploading that way too.
Okay,
so
guys.
You actually make the platform before you get it to me.
All right. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, now.
All right.
See, man, this is what it's really all about. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate having the opportunity to do this and to bring artists directly on and have these conversations. Of course, the music is still playing. So if you guys just want to hear some good music, Amy Winehouse is playing right now. Will You Still Love Me tomorrow? But listen, we got so much music in the platform. So much music has been uploaded and downloaded already. Shout out to Artinka Tierra. She was our artist head or edit artist of the week about 2 weeks ago. Artinka Tierra. That's Artinka Teaira. If you check her out, she has some really, really, really dope and amazing music, and pretty much her entire catalog is uploaded to our database. So she is spinning in rotation with a lot of other music that is there. Of course, we have Darnel Alexander, who was just on. Thank you again to him. And we got his single Crazy added into the database. So that is spinning. We'll have What If. That'll be uploaded this afternoon. He's sending me over some more music, so that's going to be added. And it's a whole lot more going into there. But we got another artist who is coming on, and actually he is backstage right now, so we're going to bring him on. This is for the holiday spirit, man. Everybody else, not bad, but this is really for the holiday spirit. Look, I see you back there, Santa. Listen, I see you back there, man. I'm getting ready to bring you on. And what the hell? Let's just go ahead and bring him on. What's going on, man?
Yeah. What's going on?
Listen, he got the full mic, and I think you're ready, sir.
I'm ready. You know Santa's always ready. Santa got to be ready for you. All right?
Listen,
hey,
man.
Santa is on time every year, baby.
I know.
Every year.
I saw you when you popped in. I'm like, oh, it's time.
Hey, you know, we can't disappoint the people waiting on me, baby. You
know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Happy Saturday to you, man. Thank you
so much. Happy Saturday. You know, just getting ready for the holiday season, you know, and this year is going to be a special year because we are actually introducing something that's just going to bring all people together, you know, all families together. It's the Santa slide. Yes. And, you know, I've hooked it up with the universe to make it possible so that when people learn and do the Santa slide, your wishes for the holidays, they come true. So I'm just urging people, learn my dance, baby, the Santa slide.
When I tell you, I'm really not even a line dance person per se. When I tell you I'm pulling out of the gas station and it comes on, and I'm like halfway line dancing in the car, and I'm like, okay, this is it right here. Like I think it's really cool, man. You know, obviously a lot of line dance tracks that you have heard really throughout the past 20 years, because they were going when I was working for Radio One. I worked for them when I was 25 years. So, you know, a lot of these songs that you're hearing, like they just invoke like a spirit of happiness, and I'll even say gratefulness, and it just puts you in that good headspace. So like when Tangi sent it over to me and then I took a listen, it was like, okay, it's kind of early in the season, but I do want to get him on the show. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
You know, I appreciate you having me, you know, and, you know, just like you said, you know, the line dances, they evoke a good feeling, you know, a feeling of togetherness. And
absolutely.
And that's and as an artist, you know, that's basically that's been my journey, you know, to deliver good vibes, you know. I mean, when I, you know, in my other life, you know, what it is that I do is I host an internet radio station and podcasting platform just like this one. And it's SM Enlightenment Radio, WSME. And our whole positioning statement is that positivity is everything. So we also really focus in on the feel-good music, the feel-good vibes, you know. So last year, you know, I've been an artist, as the great Doc P. I've been an artist for, you know, over 40 years. You know, I was actually doing hip-hop in the late 70s. I grew up in Westchester County, right outside the Bronx, but I come from a family of musicians and music people. So, you know, my biggest inspiration and my mentor was DJ Mike Music of Divine Sounds, that was the composer, arranger, and you know, the life force behind the group Divine Sounds, one of the first Brooklyn hip hop super groups, you know, that gave you What People Do for Money, Do or Die, Bed-Stuy, and I was always under my cousin's wing, you know, and
that is legendary. Like those of you who are watching, if you don't realize, like, I thought I had some people in my family. That's legendary, man.
Oh yeah, and that's my first cousins. That's direct bloodline, and you know, my whole family, for the most part, originated and started in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and then what we did was, my parents, you know, we moved uptown. Some of us moved to Long Island and so forth, but my mother always brought me to Brooklyn every Saturday to visit my grandmother. So when I did that, I always, as a child, I looked forward to hanging out with my cousins, because it was always music. You know, either we was playing instruments, or we was playing music and competing with each other, trying to dance and all of that. And it's crazy. It's like we all grew up to be musicians. You know, my other first cousin is Haq Islam, who discovered Drew Hill and Maya and, you know, all of these people. So, you know, Thanksgiving was always a lot of fun.
In the building today, like I got royalty in the building.
Yeah, you know, Thanksgiving was always a lot of fun, just getting together and playing music and dancing and all of that, and all of my aunts and uncles. So it's like the music that we all did as a family, or is that music to make you feel good, to make you feel happy. If you think back on the vibe of What People Do for Money, it's everything. It's always celebratory, right? You know. So
like it's interesting. Like, and I'm sorry to cut in the middle, but I just want to make a point, you know, to the viewers. You know, obviously we talk about a lot of music and we talk about entertainment here, but a lot of the content, not just on the Entertainment Plug, but we have several platforms: Transcendent Culture, Open Letters to a Survivor. I mean, there's several podcasts and now the radio shows as well. But you know, one of the things that we really try to really impress upon people is, living for what makes you happy and following your dreams and your passion. And a lot of times, like as kids growing up, you don't necessarily realize why things are the way that they are. So like you and your cousins were constantly around each other and into music and that sort of thing. And when I think back to childhood, like I was heavily into music and that sort of thing was just a big part of my immediate family. Nobody was, doing anything professionally, but we all were in my immediate household, between myself, my mother, my father, sister, like we all were in the band.
Yeah.
All played instruments. Like we all loved music. Like, from a baby, like I have loved music. Like the first album I bought was MC Lights. MC Lights and Bobby Brown. And this is like under 10 that I'm buying this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I was heavily into music and didn't necessarily see the correlation of it. And I knew that people had done music kind of in the past years, but just never really paid attention to it. So my cousins are Casey, JoJo, and Fantasia. And then Stephanie Mills fits in there somewhere. I think
nice
on Casey's side. But it just kind of goes to show like how that kind of talent really trickles down through the family and it touches everybody.
Yes, and it does.
It really taps into you doing, following your passion, and you being around that stuff growing up is why you're where you are now and why you're doing what you're doing and inspiring so many people. And quite frankly, helping people get through the day, because like the Santa Slide is like, you could wake up in the biggest funk ever. And when you hear that song, it's like, okay, I kind of feel all right. Like I'm all right. Let me quit tripping.
That's it.
Like, I think, and to me, that's what music is all about. It's being able to, pull something from it and be able to use it to kind of help you through, what you have going on. So I think that's really, really good.
And you know, the best thing about the Santa slide is that anybody could do it pretty
Yeah.
much. You know, you have these line dances that are awesome, that are out there, and I love them all, but it's like
I
for a
can't
lot
get
of them, a lot of them you need to be, you know, close to like a real dancer or choreographer, you know, to get a
right.
lot of these steps. I mean, they're turning and this and that all over the place. And you know, as I was promoting the WSME platform last year in the Boston area, I came across some groups that were doing some Juneteenth celebrations. Shout out to the National Black Doll Museum, also the Bristol Black Collective. You know, these folks, they do Juneteenth celebrations, they do Abolition Day, you know, all of these things for our community, you know, and especially for the kids, to educate the kids, you know, to let them know their history and where it is that they're coming from, because that's important. And you can see how important it is when they try to sort of mute the education, you know. So we always feel an obligation to connect with the kids. And as I was working with them on last year's Juneteenth celebration, at the end of the summer, Deborah Britt, the director of the Black Doll Museum, asked me if I would like to be a Santa for their holiday exhibit. And yeah, I'd never been a Santa before. I said, you know, I'll give it a try. And I tell you, the minute that I sat down and saw the joy that I was bringing to families, you know, it was like that another shot of that dopamine that I've always been getting since a kid, when I played the saxophone, or when I danced for my family, or when I tried to sing, or when I did anything. There's a satisfaction, there's a natural high that I get from that, because I know that I'm entertaining people, you know, as an MC in the clubs, as a hype man. You know, it's like, you know, seeing the people scream and throw their hands in the air and all of that, that's my reward, you know. Just like when Brother George Clinton say funk is its own reward. I mean, it's like knowing that you're impacting people in a positive way. That was such a great thing. So I was Santa last year for the kids at the museum, and then midway through it all, I said, wait a minute, I'm musical, and if I'm gonna be Santa, I gotta be a Santa with soul, because I mean that's where my roots are. I mean, I was raised throughout the 70s, you know, and you know, when you talk about music, I mean, I would have to say probably the first record that I ever bought was either ABC by the Jackson 5, or Hot Pants by James Brown. You know, like one of my earliest memories was my older brother, God bless him, my older brother, he had this tricked out Cadillac, you know, in the early 70s, you know. And as I was a little boy, like 6, 7 years old, you know, he put me in his car, you know, and we just be cruising all through Brooklyn, you know, all through the streets of Bed-Stuy, and he'd be blasting that James Brown, you know, and I'd just be like, I mean, it's a feeling that that's my heaven, you know, just you know, the funk, the groove, you know, and those rhythms, and it's like, you know, it's just like a drug addict, you know. Once you get that first hit, you're always chasing it. You're always chasing that hit, you know. So I said, you know, I want to bring the positivity to the kids, because our motto is always positivity is everything, you know, with WSME. So that's what I tell the kids. I say positivity is everything, you know, expect great things, expect good outcomes. You know, it's like, hey, we all have bad days, we have bad moments, we have disappointments, and you're gonna have disappointments in life. But if you just keep the attitude that positivity is everything, so maintain your disposition at an optimistic vibrational state of gratitude. In other words, just be grateful. And there's always something that you can be grateful for. And when you take inventory of that and keep that close, then the Lord gives you more things to be grateful for. And that's what it's all about.
Now, I think it's, you know, simply put, man, you are saving lives. Like you're literally saving lives. And it's just like I was saying, with my first guest. I don't know if you caught her like in the first maybe 10 minutes of it.
Okay, yeah.
But her name is, she goes by the name of Lady Poet, but she actually hosts a podcast titled Open Letters to a Survivor, and it's all centered around mental health. And like we are going through so much stuff in our minds. Like a lot of people are functionally depressed, and they're living the day to day. But a lot of them have so much turmoil going on in their minds. And like we already know how healing and therapeutic music is, but like for what you have right now, man, like I really, really think it's amazing. Like no fluff, no bullshit. Like I really, really think it's.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, brother. We believe,
and yourself. Like you run your own platform, you run your own station, own network, and everything. So you are the controller of what comes on your network and on your programs and that sort of thing. And the same applies with me. So like I don't bring anybody onto any of I'll say the platforms that I host, because obviously if I have somebody else on, they kind of have full reign as far as who they bring on their platform.
Right.
But I don't bring anybody on my platforms that I host or that I have anything to do with that I'm not, truthfully, that I'm not feeling and that I don't think are going to really be good for the culture or for the people who are listening. And, it's so much media out here, so many people who want to do it and don't know what they're doing, and so many people who know what they're doing and they still do the wrong thing. So it's like, I feel like I have a mission and a job that I have to fulfill just in terms of, what I put out here. And then there's always kind of been in the back of my mind that, with family being in the industry and that sort of thing, I don't want the wrong nothing coming back to nobody that your cousin got this. I don't want none of that either. But I love that song. I love what it is that you're doing. Even as far as your network and your brand, I'm actually working. I do the websites and all that stuff. So I'm actually working on the new and updated site for the station, and I'm gonna have you plastered all on there, man. Like,
I appreciate that
platform and that sort of thing, so that we can push people off to you as well, because like we are needed, man. I'm trying to get rid of all of that red tape and all of that. You can't do this because that's another station and that's the competitor, and you can't. I'm so not on that. Like I have dealt with that long enough working for the big leagues, and I'm like, we need something. We need a different space out here. So
exactly. And
I'm really behind what you got, man. Like I really, really appreciate you coming on. But what other music do you have, or do you have any other music kind of in motion as far as things that are going to be coming out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as I have a couple of different musical entities that I do music with, and this all started back in the early 80s. I would say that in the mid 80s, we started making music as the original SM Crew. All right. And the SM Crew was actually a DJ crew that I started when I was a teenager in New York in 1978. And I was at that point, I was trying to bring together all of my friends that were uptown in Westchester and sort of merge them with a lot of my family in Brooklyn and make this big, massive kind of DJ crew. I was really inspired by
that could be like a dope time. Like
yeah. It was.
You had Sugar Hill, and you had like that had to be a dope time to be out there in New York at that.
I tell you, the dopest time for me was probably like right before, like a year or two before the records really started to drop, when the main medium for hip hop was the cassette tape, and the way that
very well, and the tape breaking and then me opening it up and taping it back together.
Oh yeah, that's it. And I think probably the first time I ever heard hip hop was definitely a Zulu tape, and it was maybe Bam or somebody cutting cutting the beat, and I think it might have been Honky Tonk Woman by the Rolling Stones with that tat, 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 boom, boom, tat, boom, tat, and just somebody on the mic with an echo chamber. Yes, y'all, don't stop, keep on. And I was like, wow, what is this? What is this? And how can I get involved with this? And then I think like a few months later, my best friend had his birthday party, and we're not but 12 years old. Had a birthday party, and we had a little DJ there playing music, and this guy came through from the Bronx, and he started breakdancing, and that's the first time we saw. So, yo, what is that? What is he doing? And he said he's b-boying. That's b-boying, right? And then we all wanted to try to do that. You know, we was all trying to get our moves together and all of that. And it was such an exciting time because it felt like those of us that were into this thing, we didn't know it was a culture then. It was just this thing, this movement. It was our thing, and it was our thing. And it was so cool. And then just the excitement when we were able to first hear it on the radio. You know, it was like, wow, you can do that now. It's on the radio.
Yeah.
It was just such an exciting time for hip hop, and hip hop has always brought us that excitement each year, you know, or each generation of it as it has transformed and changed. You know, it's like, but you know, it grew so big that I think after a while, you know, and the same thing with entertainment overall. I mean, it seems as though like when big business starts to get involved with it and start to really mess with the true artistry of what it's about and the true concept, because you know, I don't think that hip hop was ever intended to be a vehicle to send our children to jail or to, you know, to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, a lot of it is that, you know. And so in some right, it's like you could celebrate hip hop that it has grown into so many places, you know, but you know, it's just like there's also negative aspects that come along with that. So, you know, we try to focus on the positive and to use this music and this art form for the betterment of all. You know, it's like in the late 80s, you know, we were signed to a subsidiary of a major label, and we got jerked, we got shelved, and then we fought to get out of that contract in like around 88. And the same lawyer that helped us to get out of that put us on to a production company that was just hell, you know, we want you to come in and say some rhymes about dinosaurs. Joe Raposo from Sesame Street wrote these things, but we need a real credible rapper. So I went in, I said, dinosaurs here, dinosaurs there, every kind of dinosaur, just some simple, really cute dinosaur rhymes. Yeah. Got paid for that, didn't think anything of it. That production company sold that idea to McDonald's, and that's what became the Dinosaur Happy Meal toy. Oh, wow. That was out in 1988, 1989. And
I actually remember that.
Yeah, and it was a 4-tape set. It came with a booklet, and it was like they told these stories about Bones and Dodo, right? And the beginning of the story and the end of it, there was a little rap jingle, and it went on to sell 21 million units. I used to go into McDonald's and just sit there and see people coming in. So no, we just want the toy.
Right.
Just here to get the toy, you know. And I'd be like, wow, yeah, I got a couple of grand for that, but this thing is selling millions of units. They said they sold 21 million units of the toy. It was like, you know, one of the biggest Happy Meal things that they sold at the time. And, you know, that really started my journey in like affecting kids, you know what I'm saying, and putting out something that's my greatest stake in popular culture is that, hey, you know, kids have grown up like with lessons about great stuff. So I mean, hey, you know, I do music about everything, you know, the whole human experience, you know, as the great Doc P. I also have a band which is a funk fusion band called Together We Overcome, and you know, we have been putting out music. We have music that's coming in early 2025 regarding that, and then also as SM Crew, whereas we put out music like for the clubs and people just to basically just to dance to and lose their mind to, you know. And now this new entity is Soul Santa Solomon, so you know, we're going to be cooking up more holiday stuff as the years go on, because Santa Slide is here to stay.
Now, I think that's super dope, man. Your network, talk a little bit more about that, about like just in terms of programming and what people can get when they're listening to your radio station or when they're watching the podcast.
So yeah, SM Enlightenment Radio basically is you know, we focus on feel good music. We call it feel good radio at its finest. All right. SM and the whole concept of SM Enlightenment started about 25 years ago when I was affiliated with Yale Broadcasting Company. Because you know, after being suffering quite a few disappointments in the music industry in the 90s as an artist, I wanted to learn the music industry inside out. And I had already studied radio in college. I was a mass communications major. Actually, my thesis to graduate in 1986 was that the so-called rap music of the time would later become America's popular culture. You know, I said that, you know, rap music, black music, American music. And they said, well, you're just going to have to prove that, you know. And I traced hip hop all the way back and showed that it's the main attribute of all popular forms of American music, because you have cadence and you have voice. You know what I mean? So that's the basis of it. You know, you go all the way back to West Africa, you know, with the drums and just the call and response. You know, when our ancestors were brought over as slaves, you know, they communicated with each other and through music and through call and response and you know, and all of that good stuff. And going into the 1900s, you know, Cab Calloway, hidey, oh, hidey, you know, and that's the same concept of throw your hands in the air, wave like you just don't care. You know, it keeps repeating itself. You know what I'm saying? But the basis of it is what it is that our ancestors, you know, we needed a cadence, you know, a rhythm, and you have a voice. Every instrument in the world is invented to mimic the human voice, or it's something that's going to keep time for us, cadence. So that's and that's basically the audio component of hip hop is just that. It's rhythm and cadence. You know, with some of the first early hip hop records, you know, the LL Cool J, I Need a Beat. What is it? Just a beat in him, you know. Suck MCs, you know, Run DMC, you know, that's a beat in them. That is like the most basic form of all of our American music. So for someone to even say that hip hop just all of a sudden was invented at some point in the 70s, you know, sometimes I debate with that, because it's like, you know, they was rapping from the beginning of time when we started to speak and we could put something together and clap and say that's hip hop, because it's the utilization of your resources.
Absolutely.
To make something bigger happen. And
Absolutely.
when you have limited resources, you know, it's like then that's going to motivate you to turn a turntable into an instrument.
Yeah. We actually got a couple comments popping in here. Cat Queen, she said, "What's your favorite Christmas song?" And then she added on to that and just said, "Other than the Santa's Line."
Oh wow. First one that really pops into my mind would have to be the Donny Hathaway.
This Christmas.
You know, and after that would have to be probably Jackson 5, Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Okay.
I'm also really into Santa Claus Go straight to the ghetto, James. You know, I picked those ones because, and most Christmas songs do, even the Stevie Wonder one, you know, most of these Christmas songs, they evoke a feeling or joy in us that is so unique. You know, it's like you can feel it deep in your heart. And you know, when I was creating Santa Slide, just me and the trusty MPC right here, you know, I wanted to communicate that. You know, it was more about communicating a feeling than anything else, because I wanted people to have that joyous feeling, you know, in their heart, that where you can feel it in the center of your chest.
She said, I like Hark How the Bells.
Well, that's awesome, awesome. And Merry Christmas to you too.
you mentioned Donny Hathaway's This Christmas.
Uh-huh.
As you know, a million people have remade this song. So
Yeah.
who do you think remade it the best? And I'm gonna just throw in my thought is that,
Okay.
and I mean I've heard so many different versions of it. So I might be off mark with some people, but I think Chris Brown did really good with it though.
See, I'm mad at you for saying that, because I was gonna say Chris Brown.
Oh, okay.
Because the Chris Brown, first of all, he surprised me with that. You know, Chris Brown. I mean, Chris Brown, I think is probably, you know, one of the greatest
She's a
entertainers
fan,
right
Christopher
now.
Maurice Brown.
Huh?
I said she's a fan, Christopher Maurice Brown.
Maurice Brown. Well, excuse me. Thank you. You know, I with that song, it was like, wow, this is Chris Brown, because it really opened up a different avenue. I mean, he's one of the greatest entertainers of our generation right now. But I mean, for him to be able to really go there and give us something good, you know, that, yeah, I like the Chris Brown version too.
Yeah, I thought he did very well. She said he brought out those emotions in that song.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, indeed.
Okay. So people who want to keep up with you, they want to know what's going on, they want to know what's happening. Where can they find you? You know, i.e., social media, website.
Yep. So, yep, social media is real easy. You know, on Facebook and Instagram, Soul Santa Solomon. All right. Just as it is written. And TikTok also, soul.santa.solomon. Also the great Doc P, all in one word. TheGreatDocP. Yes. Santa Slide is definitely something that we want to see everybody doing, all families doing. Thank you so much, Kat. Yes, and you can see the TikToks of people getting it together right on my Soul Santa Solomon page, my Facebook page, my Instagram, also my TikToks. You know, there's, you know, people starting to send them in. I'm getting them from New York. I'm getting them from down south. I'm getting them from South America, Atlanta, Georgia, you know, Boston, Connecticut. You know, people are doing this thing, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everyone that's participating in this. You know, and like I said, Santa Slide is here to stay, and we're, you know, also working with. Soon we'll be announcing, you know, possibly a charity that we'll be partnering with. You know, something that will directly affect our communities, you know, because hey, you know, this is all about unity and bringing people together and bringing families together.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you so much. I didn't actually start our conversation out this way, and I generally start my conversations out just by telling people, or you know, telling the guest how thankful, how grateful I am just to be able to have the opportunity. Like, I think I'm blessed in the sense that I have known since a kid what I want to do, like, career-wise. We all land somewhere else different half the time. So
Yeah.
I was in healthcare for 22 years and trying to figure out how to do media in between. I worked for some, Radio One, the NBC affiliate here in Cleveland. I worked for them a little bit. I've done
Nice.
some freelance for BET, that sort of thing. But ultimately, being in this industry and being able to network and meet so many different people like yourself, like I finally got the bug, or I guess the entrepreneurial bug, to just kind of launch my own brand, some 10 or more years ago, and really just kind of push and build that to be what I want, these other companies to be when I go and work for them. So like to be able to do this, and I've sacrificed, I feel like probably the utmost, because I left my job to be able to do it. So when I tell you I Uber around the clock sometimes to try to make sure the house and everything else is paid. And even, launching the station a month or so ago, it was like, okay, I got to get all this software and all this stuff I need to go drive. So it's like to be able to pull this stuff together and then to see it happening. And I mean, I've been doing media 25 years, so it's not like I'm new to it. But
right.
I think in recent years, I'm finally being able to see it grow to where I wanted it to be, and to be able to do a lot of that stuff. And a lot of that is because of people like you. Allowing me the chance to be able to talk to them about the stuff they have going on. And then knowing your journey and the fact that you're running a network and a station and a full platform just the same way that I am, like that goes even deeper. So I am grateful to you, man. I appreciate it. Santa Slide is uploaded into our database. So it is in rotation with everything
Thank
else.
you.
Actually,
Thank you.
I'm actually creating kind of, I guess in a sense, almost pre-recorded content for certain days or certain times of the day. So I actually will have some holiday programming running, where then the Santa Slide will obviously be injected into that as well. So it'll play a little bit more, but just so you kind of have an idea of what's going on. And then Tangi and I are tied at the hip for the most part. I've been working with her for probably a decade, and for real, I can't even tell you if I've met her face to face or not. I don't know, but but it's cool though, because in all honesty, some of those relationships are your best relationships. Like my first radio show was with the station in North Carolina, and I never met the person that put everything together. Face to face, like, and until she passed, like she was counseling me through my divorce, and we never met face to face. So some of those relationships are your best relationships, but we're kind of tied at the hip. So pretty much everybody that she gets, she sends them my way. So
she's great. Yeah, and she works hard, man. She works hard.
Absolutely.
And
I'm learning from her. So my company is, well, it started as a magazine. So, I mean, I did that for some years. And I actually had a kind of a digital magazine before I launched the current magazine in 2014.
Nice. Okay.
So, it initially was just that, but then I added the podcast network and now the radio station, and I have a PR firm. And like I'm learning every day, I'm learning something from her. So I appreciate her. She'll keep us tied together, and
yes, sir.
Anything that you got. I mean, I know you obviously have that ability to run your stuff on your station, but if you needed to run elsewhere, just say it. Like I don't need nothing to it. Just say it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we could talk about possibly, simulcasting entertainment plug, on our platform.
That would be amazing. I would love to do it. So we can figure that piece out. But I just want to really impress upon you that I guess my willingness to collaborate, and like anything that you need, I got you. I don't want nothing for it. Like this is all passion. And
awesome.
Like when you're doing passion stuff, it's beautiful, man. So like I'm enjoying being able to do this stuff and do it for myself and don't have to answer to nobody and just call the shots.
Isn't it great? Yeah, just
is.
having that freedom, because it's what I've noticed is that it's me, I go way outside of the so-called usual parameters that most of these platforms or like radio stations, I mean, terrestrial and commercial radio, I mean, they have these definite parameters, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's like, they're a lot of it's predetermined what's going to be played and so on and so forth, and regardless of the feeling. But when it's your own thing, then you actually have the control. And I said, there's a certain type of feeling that I want people to have, and if you notice, like, I keep referring back to the feeling because that's, to me, what's most important. It's like, and that's what it is that people remember about you as an individual, is always how you make them feel, regardless of what it is that's said or done. It's like, it's how people feel at the end of the day, or at the end of the night. When we're DJing a party or when I'm performing, it's like that ride home. I want people to feel like, yeah. So I want my platform, when people hear it or when they see it, to step away from that feeling good, to be a source of feel good. So, hey, if you're feeling good, you tune us in, we're going to make you feel better. If you're a little bit down, you know what I'm saying? You tune us in, we're going to pick you up a little bit, because we say positivity is everything.
It's everything, man. And I think you kind of know it, but then having actually had, like, that 2, 3, 4 year, period of time in my life where I actually kind of hit rock bottom, like, mental wise and depression and all kinds of stuff going on. It's like, now I get it even more. Like, I knew before, but now I really don't. So it's really about, like you said, how you make people feel and, how they come out at the end of the day.
Because we need that. We need that as a people. We need those things, because that's why you have so many people running out here self-medicating themselves to death. Because they there's a void there. There's a void, and we need to feel good. Thank you, Kat. And I'm grateful for you that that you're believing, because that's what it is that we need. We need more people to believe that, hey, positivity is what it is that we need to hold on to, because there's so much negativity out here in the world.
Absolutely.
And it's weighing, and it has a lot of us beat down, you know what I mean? And we need something good that's just going to uplift us. So that's the work that it is that I'm over here trying to do, and I see you doing it too, brother. So, hey, that's why we have no choice but to collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm trying to do it, and you are definitely doing it. So thank you for all that you're doing. I thoroughly appreciate you, man. We will absolutely do more. And again, Santa Slide is actually uploaded into the database, so that is spinning in rotation. And I'll be getting it added to some of the pre-planned stuff that'll run more so on the weekends.
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing, that if people are just uncertain about the Santa Slide, or whether or not they can do it, I'm going to let you know that you can definitely do it. All that it is 2-step move, then you slide. Take a lean to the side, take a sleigh ride, and then you hop 4 times. That's it, baby. That's all you got to do.
That's it.
And some cha-cha. Hey, a toddler could do it. And if an old man, pushing 60 could do it over here with bad arthritic knees, you could do it too. You could do it too.
Listen, man, thank you so much. We definitely will do this again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir.
Santa Slide available on all platforms. All right, The Great Doc P on Facebook, The Great Doc P on Instagram, also Soul Santa Solomon on Facebook, Soul Santa Solomon Instagram, and also Soul Santa Solomon on TikTok. Thank you so much.
She said it took her a year to learn the Tamia shuffle. I still can't figure it out. So
yeah, you see, well, this one is simple. I tell you, you can learn this in 2 minutes, in exactly 2 minutes. So there are videos with me showing people how to do it, and they pick up on it right away.
Listen, man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You enjoy the rest of your Saturday, man.
Yes, sir. You too. Peace and blessings.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. So, yeah, we are getting ready to check out here. I appreciate you guys tuning in for the Entertainment Plug. Listen, this is what you're going to be getting every single Saturday. So we are going to be bringing artists in, bringing guests in, just having these, one-on-one conversations, sometimes 2-on-2, depending on who we can get. We actually have next Saturday planned out already, so I will be sending some messages and some posts out about that. Once again, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you again to the great Doc P / Soul Santa Solomon. I also want to give a shout to Darnel Alexander, who was prior to great Doc P. And then also Lady Poet from Open Letters to a Survivor. She popped in at the very beginning, and we talked a lot about mental health, and we talked a little bit about Open Letters to a Survivor. So keep in mind that you can catch Open Letters to a Survivor on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. They do have a new show scheduled for tomorrow, so they will be on. That is Lady Poet, Cassandra Williams, K-Love, and Tim is going to be there with Motivational Minute. So you definitely want to check that. Again, that's tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whole lot of other stuff going on. Remember, Transcending the Culture is back on November 20th. So you don't want to miss that because we got a lot of stuff lined up for the season 3 premiere. So make sure that you guys are tuned into that. Make sure that you get on Apple Music, or you get on TuneIn, or you get on Odyssey. Make sure you download UG Digital Radio. It is going 24/7. We are getting a lot of shows, a lot of pre-scheduled and pre-planned content uploaded into there. Right now, Brandy Wildest Dreams is spinning, so you guys can get that right now. It is free. You can also download the Live 365 app. You can listen to the shows and you can listen to the music there as well. So by all means, please make sure that you guys download. We love you. We appreciate you. Cat Queen, thank you so much for popping in here with the amazing comments. Thank you. We do try to give a great show. And listen, when you guys pop in here, make sure that you throw them comments into the box so that we can answer your questions. We can get your comments up. And I'm going to actually be setting up, some moments where you will actually be able to get on video and actually talk to the guests. So keep a lookout for that too, because I'm working a lot of stuff out to do something different. This is a new piece of radio here. This is not your traditional thing. So you are getting something totally different, and I'm grateful that you guys are along for the ride. So stay tuned because it's a whole lot more. That was all I have for you guys today. So I'm gonna bid you guys a farewell. It is Saturday. It looks like the weather is halfway decent. I finally got my backdrop together, so we don't got all that sunlight and stuff glaring into here. My studio is still being worked on, so I may actually be in the actual studio next Saturday. Depends on what we can get done, but a whole lot of stuff going on. So thank you guys for tuning in. Just stay tuned. Keep you guys keep it going.